Feel the energy. Tap into the crowd. Take the game. Put yourself on the cusp of a Stanley Cup championship. We get you set for Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Oilers and the Panthers right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream, a pregame show. What's up, everybody? Good evening. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Tom Gazzola, Josh Clipperton from the Canadian Press with you live on location at the Canadian Ice House. Rowdy, rambunctious, excited, nervous, all of the above. Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. We've got a fantastic pregame show for you. As always, you can text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. I had to describe the nasty chat to Josh. What did you think of the nasty chat?
It sounds like the Wild West literally out there, my friend.
It can be.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. This has been a long time coming, long talked about. First time it's happened, though.
Yes,
so.
That's on me. That's my bad. We're going to hear from Matt Cassian, our game analyst. He'll be stopping by a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to hear from Reed Wilkins, who will also stop by. You got... They're ready.
That's right.
They're ready. Oh, yeah, they know. Let's go. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, turbochargers, two injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Before we go to Hernan with the question of the night, I have to ask you, you got in last night. You were in Florida. You were telling me about what is going on outside of Ice House and the arena. Yeah. Give us a descriptor, Josh, of the district and downtown.
Insanity. I was at the morning skates. I was always one of the last to leave the morning skate, and there was already probably 250, 300 people lined up. Now it goes all the way around the block. Everyone's having a good time. There's a few beverages. There's lots of flags. There's lots of car horns. I see a few brave Panthers fans. I saw one Barkov jersey, one Marchand jersey. I'm like, best of luck, fellas. But everyone's here to have a good time, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, Edmonton, be gracious hosts, be kind to our visitors, take care of them. They came up here from sunny Florida, so let's see how things go and just make them feel somewhat welcome.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah, exactly. Nanso, how are you feeling going into this thing?
Yeah, pretty pumped, man. You get this game, Tom, it's looking pretty damn good. It's been such a roller coaster, especially that last game. 3 overtimes. Probably don't expect any different this time around, right? So going to see what happens tonight down at Rogers Place. Some lineup changes. Cal Pick back in the net, undefeated. So I can't wait, man. This is going to be great.
All right, there's Nanso back at EST HQ. You can text us, of course, like I said, 780-218-9999. How you feeling? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you assured by the win in Game 4? Maybe not. Maybe you're not convinced that the Oilers can get the job done. Josh, let's start with that. You were there in Florida. That was a crazy start. The Panthers go up 3-zip in that first period. The Oilers claw their way back, for a lack of a better term, and then it goes over. Give us a sense of what happened at Amarant Bank Arena.
We were right in the obituary after the first period, my friend. It was over. It looked over. Obviously, it wasn't. We all know the lore of now the Corey Perry speech. We don't know exactly what was said. It wasn't wisdom, he said. It was probably a lot of profanity. But that guy's been around the block. He's been through the battles, and when he speaks up, they listen. They came out on fire. Everybody knows that save that Calvin Pickard made on Anton Lundell. That's the game right there. If it goes to 4-1, I don't know that they're coming back. A lot of fight, man. A lot of impressive moments in that game. Of course, they get a bounce in overtime with the Bennett shot off the glove, off the crossbar. Oilers get a bounce and they come back tied 2-2. It's crazy, the margins. This morning, Brad Marchand talked about how he's played in 4 finals, and this is the most exciting, the best hockey that people probably have seen.
It's crazy.
And when those guys can step back and enjoy it, you're in for a good show.
We expect a good show on the ice at Rogers Place. How bad was the ice in Florida? Did you get a sense of that from the guys?
I didn't really, but the practice rink day was interesting. When the Oilers had to move one of their practices from one to another, one pad to another. Yep. We didn't hear a lot about the ice, but it's Florida. It's 35 degrees Celsius outside, and you come inside and it's freezing cold. It's got to be hard for those ice guys. Didn't hear a lot of that, but I think it probably played into some of the sloppy play. Obviously you guys have the best ice in the league here, so it should be a clean game.
Well, they did bring in dehumidifiers, which is interesting. You can see them when you're walking in the Zamboni entrance area there. It is a rainy day here in Edmonton. Thankfully, the rain subsided for a little bit. They have the rooftop patio going. I was talking to Tian from the Ice House, and he's like, on last second order, I went and bought like 350 ponchos just for today.
Just in case.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just a smart, savvy businessman right there.
You gotta be ready.
Exactly. Shout out to Tian and the entire staff here. Fantastic as always, taking care of us here at the Canadian Ice House. Todd Guzzola, Josh Clipperton from the Canadian Press here at the Canadian Ice House. So you got Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. All right, Nan. So I want Josh to be the first guy to take a crack at our question of the night. Do you have it for us?
I sure do. It's not going to be Calvin Pickard related because we all pretty much knew he was going to get the start. So
yep.
This one's for Josh, our Nasties, on the Nasty Chat. And, of course, you can text us 780-218-9999. I want to get people's thoughts, and Josh and yours, Tom's, of course.
Yep.
Is Stetcher staying in the right call after playing 4 minutes? And Chris Knoblock did say it was a coach's decision, nothing to do with injury. And is Arvidsson for Kasperi Kapanen the right move? So I guess we'll start with our guest, Josh Clipperton.
Yeah, well, on Stetcher, surprise. That was a surprise of the morning for all of us. I mean, I think he played 4 minutes and something. He had one shift after the giveaway. I mean, obviously, it's a tough play on the third Florida goal. I think the big thing is he's a Darnell Nurse whisperer. For the guys that cover the team day to day, that's what I've heard. Calms Darnell's game down. You know, he's got a lot of time to watch the speed of the game from the bench.
Yes,
for better or worse. So he's up to speed. Hopefully, I'm wondering if you're John Klingberg, what are you thinking though? Like that's that.
I was going to say to you. I mean, you watched those first 3 games and just. Did it get too fast for John Klingberg?
Maybe it did. Maybe they just trust that he's going to make maybe fewer mistakes than Troy Stetcher will make,
right.
Or like Stetcher will make fewer mistakes than Klingberg will make. But yeah, it was a big surprise this morning. And you know, they mentioned it was a coach's decision yesterday. Said it was a coach's decision today. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Like I say, it was a surprise, but I think it has more to do with who he plays with than the player himself.
Okay, looking at Klingberg's minutes, so when he played the other night in Game 3. He ended up playing 17:36, and then you trade that in for Troy Stetcher, who ends up playing 4:18.
Yep.
I thought to myself, especially post-game, especially going into today, all right, they'll probably put Klingberg back in there, and he'll at least give them 10 to 12 minutes. Maybe they can't rely on him for 17 plus, but you got to get more than 4:18.
Well, and this was an overtime game, right, as well? So
yeah, exactly.
We went with 4D for pretty much 2.5 periods. It's a lot of miles. They flew yesterday. I can only speak for myself getting off the plane, heavy legs, a little groggy. There's a time difference. It's not huge, yes. But it's 2 hours. It was a surprise, but that's why they get paid the big bucks, and we sit here to talk about it.
That's right. Nanso, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit surprised because I know there was a lot of mix-up yesterday if he was hurt, but and Chris Knoblock, we played it on ESC afternoons, and he said, guys, it was a coach's decision. He's fine. He's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And then Josh makes a good point. This was an overtime game, too, and he got 4 minutes, guys, after the 3-0 goal, right? So I'm a little surprised because Klingberg's been really good. He's fallen off a bit in this series. Maybe that forecheck for the Panthers is not helping in that, but a little bit surprised. Obviously, guys, he is going to play more than 4 minutes tonight.
I would think so.
Because you got to keep in mind that pairing with Darnell Nurse on the other night in Game 4, they struggled mightily in the first period. Like Darnell Nurse, that's probably his worst game of his worst period of the playoffs. And
bad
he settled down a bit after that. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see if he gets the minutes he was getting before that last game, because he was always around that 14 to 16, maybe a little bit lower in other games. So yeah, definitely an interesting decision, but I expect a bounce back from Troy Stetcher.
All right, so what say you? 780-218-9999. You can get in the nasty chat as well. What do you make of Troy Stetcher staying in the lineup? No John Klingberg, no Ty Emberson. They're certainly not playing Josh Brown. We know that for a fact. My goodness. And we want to hear your thoughts on that decision from the Oilers coaching staff. Let's go to the inbox now, 780-218-9999. CB Radio Guy says, Tommy, what a time to be alive. The Radio Guy is not guaranteeing a win tonight, but I am going to say I feel in my gut the team knows they had a bounce go their way to come back and tied it. And this is the chance to stomp on the throats of the Panthers. I think the Oilers smell blood, and I think they win this tonight. Huge. That's from CB Radio Guy via the inbox. So some positivity there, yeah, Josh,
absolutely.
After that win from the Oilers. If you're the Panthers, I know you were mentioning what Brad Marchand had to say about this series, his third cup final. He says it's the craziest cup final he's been a part of or seen. great hockey, but do you sense any cracking of the nerves with the Panthers? I can't imagine there is any. What's your sense and read on their team?
Not at all, Tom. They're as calm as can be. This team has been through it all. They played in tough environments. This will be the loudest they probably played ever, but they're ready for it. I mean, this is a team that just doesn't. It doesn't break usually. But of course, there was the game last year when it was 3-0, and they really, they didn't come to play in game 4 here. But for the most part, they always bring it in big moments. They trust each other. There's that system that they just believe to their core, and it'll get them there. Bob makes enough saves. Most nights he's been really good, and they'll just do what they do. It's a team that always figures out a way. And I'm not saying they're going to win tonight, but I wouldn't expect them to be blown out of the building. I mean, there's a lot of miles on that team, but they're a veteran group. The Florida Panthers blowing a 3-0 lead, that does not sit well with them in a game. I'm positive about that. Nor should it. And it's a group that I expect to respond. I expect it to be a closer game than maybe you're the CB radio guy saying. I've been wrong many times, so we'll have to see. I just want to mention about Arvidsson and Kapanen, though.
Yes.
That's an interesting switch. I didn't think Kapanen was bad, but I think it's an interesting move coming off a plane when you have guys, fresh legs that can contribute. Kasperi, he sets up the Wallman goal, right? I thought that there's no hockey related reason they see him coming out. I think it's a pure energy reason. Just get another set of fresh legs that hasn't played in a bit.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to get to the starting lineup brought to you by South Fort Chev. Go see Daniel and his team in the Fort. They'll give you $1,000 extra credit on your trade-in. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. You heard Josh talking about the lineup and the move that they made up front, the Oilers did. Here is how we're anticipating they roll out their lines, and Chris Knoblock does. Connor McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Brown. Leon Draisaitl with, who got moved up to his line? I have it right here. My bad. You know what? I didn't update. Podkolzin, that's right. Big goal from him. Yeah. I had it with the old lineup. Podkolzin and Perry on the second line with Draisaitl. Henrique between Jeff Skinner and Trent Frederick. And then that switch that Josh was talking about, Matthias Janmark between Evander Kane and Victor Arvidsson. You know what's interesting? Seeing Kane get moved down to the fourth line. Do you guys see it as like a punishment for the penalties he's been taking in the last 2 games? How do you look at it, Josh?
I think it's partly that for sure. I mean, he was asked twice about discipline and about the Panthers pushing buttons and specifically his buttons today, and he didn't really want to get into it either time. Clearly, there's conversations. Knoblock talked about the lack of discipline. One of the high sticking penalties in the first period, which he said was really annoyed with, was a Kane, and then of course it was the last game that he had a couple penalties. So I think that there's definitely part of that. If you can't trust a guy to not take a penalty in a game, in a series that is so close, I think it's a warranted demotion. You can still move him up, but I think it's a message sent.
So there you go. Kane expected to start on the fourth line with Janmark and Arvidsson. How did you look at that, Hernan?
Yeah, kind of the same way. I mean, that's back-to-back games. Tom, you were fired up a few games ago because he spoke about, I can't be this guy. I can't be the one being undisciplined. And then he went and
I was getting crap from that from listeners and viewers saying, what's wrong with you knocking on? Those were terrible penalties. Yeah, they were, but they kind of set the Oilers off on the wrong direction and course in that game.
And he did it again last game. So and keep in mind, last game he was moved to the fourth line for a few shifts. I know we counted his shifts. I think he had 5 in the third and then 3 in overtime. So it's not like he missed a lot, guys, but he did get moved lines, I think 2 or 3 times late in that game. So I definitely think it's a message being sent. Like, you got to be more careful out there. Be physical, but be in control of your stick and don't take stupid penalties.
So Kane with Arvidsson and Janmark. All right, let's look at the defense. Tonight, Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard. Brett Kulak with Jake Wallman. Darnell Nurse with this nurse whisperer, Troy Stetcher. We are a little bit surprised that Stetcher is still in, but alas, there he is alongside Darnell Nurse. As for the Florida Panthers, here's what we're anticipating tonight in Game 5. Alexander Barkov between Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart. Sam Bennett between Evan Rodriguez and Matthew Tkachuk. Anton Lindell between Eetu Luostarinen and Brad Marchand. That line has had a fantastic postseason. And then the fourth line, Tomas Nosek I don't know if you can hear the boos, but there's Panthers fans walking in. There's Panthers fans walking in and doing a lap.
There's a Barkov jersey.
There's a Barkov jersey. Is that a different one or the same one you saw earlier?
It's a different one, so there's at least 2 of them.
Okay, so there's at least 2. A round of boos for the Barkov jersey here at the Ice House. Tomasz Nosek with AJ Greer and Jonah Gadjevich. And then on defense for the Panthers, Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikkola with Seth Jones, and then Nate Schmidt paired up with Dmitry Kulikov. Your starting goalies for tonight, 33-year-old Calvin Pickard, 7-0 this postseason, .269 goals against average, .896 save percentage in 9 games in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. Pickard versus Florida in the postseason over the course of his career. Obviously, very, very short resume there. 1-0 record, 177 GAA, .936 save percentage in those 2 appearances versus the Panthers. At the other end of the rink, it's 36-year-old Sergei Bobrovsky, 14-7 this year. In the playoffs, .227 goals against average, .912 save percentage, 3 shutouts in 21 playoff games in 2025. And then lifetime versus Edmonton in the playoffs, 6-5 record for Bobrovsky, .274 GAA, .906 save percentage, 1 shutout in 11 games versus the Oil. We get to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. Connor McDavid has a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. Zach Hyman, wrist. He's done for the playoffs. Alec Regula, we just keep him in there for good measure. Picked up off of waivers by the Oilers.
You never know.
Bruins.
You never know.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year extension with the Oilers. Has not played a game for them. Knee has kept him out all year long. As for the Panthers, no injuries, so they are in a good spot. There is your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. We know Nugent Hopkins dealing with a bit of a wrist thing right now as well, but he scored a big goal. All right, let's look at the goaltending, Josh. Calvin Pickard starts tonight. We know Bobrovsky's going to be in at the other end. What do you think of this move to keep Pickard in there to start this game?
I think it's the right one. I mean, if you can't go away from him. I think it's not the safe move, but I think it's the right one. Now, that being said, if things go bad tonight, I could totally see Stuart Skinner starting Game 6. Like they were clear that it wasn't goaltending that put them down 3-0. Like, right. If it wasn't for Stuart Skinner, it could have been 5-0 in the first period. There was a lot of chances that he stood tall on. The team was flat. Knoblock wanted to make a change, needed to spark things. Calvin Pickard's an incredible story, right? Like, he started 50 games for the Avalanche in 2016, 2017, and then played 30 games the next 6 seasons in the NHL, went to Austria, rode the buses in the AHL. Mm-hmm. He's battled. I mean, his story's well documented in this market, but I think nationally and internationally, people are kind of reintroducing themselves to this guy, a guy who was a pretty good goalie in his younger days, and he's a guy that battles. Like, we were talking in the press box the other night in Florida. Like, this guy just battles. It might not be pretty sometimes, but he gets the job done. It's the right move. I'll be curious to see what the Panthers try to do to get him off his game. There's, of course, the stuff with the backup goalie last time with Stuart Skinner. He was asked about that. I mean, I don't think that'll be a thing, but in terms of bumping him, getting in his kitchen a little bit, seeing how the Oilers react, I mean, this is what the Panthers do. I think it's the right move. I think it's an incredible story if he comes in and wins this game for them. What
do you make of the moniker, like, best backup or best street hockey goalie in the world?
Yeah, could be. He looks like a lot of the kids I used to play with back on Belmont Avenue in Ottawa. Way back in the day, there's a lot. You're just flopping. You're doing whatever you can. You're doing whatever you can to get the job done, and that's what he does. I mean, like I say, it's not pretty, but he's made a career out of being a good teammate, being a good professional. He's a great sidekick or tandem with Stuart in terms of support, and he's getting his moment now. I think it's a great story.
How about Bobrovsky's performance through the first 4 games? How would you sum it up?
Pretty good. I think he's done enough for them to win. I mean, there's been a few times they've been obviously going high on him. If you notice, of course, the Nugent Hopkins goal the other night, the Nurse goal was, I mean, that's a 1 out of 100 shot, but It's a great shot. But like, I mean, he's a goalie that always goes down. Like, as you know, I cover the Leafs day to day during the regular season, and we see Florida all the time. We see them in the playoffs all the time. Yeah, he takes away the bottom of the net. It's an old adage, but you got to get the puck up on him. The Oilers have managed to do that. And the overtime goal, they get a bounce the other night, and that's the difference. I don't think that the Panthers can be upset or disappointed in any of his play, but I mean, he hasn't really had a Bob game yet in the series either, and you wonder if it's coming.
I have a question to that. Go ahead, Hernan, because I want to know what you have for Josh.
No, that's a good point about Josh saying he hasn't had the Bob game yet, because even in that 6-1 drubbing, guys, it's not the Oilers weren't goalied, right? Like it's just one of those games where Florida took it over, and it's not that the Oilers had a lot either. So I quickly want to ask you guys, what do you make of the Oilers goalies speaking on game days? I know it's a big talking point in the NHL. You guys have been in the media for a long time. A lot of goalies won't do it because, according to them, it affects their start. But the Oilers goalies don't seem to really care. They do it all the time, and I think you got to give them credit for that.
100%. I mean, covering teams in Toronto, we come in every day. Is the goalie available? No. The Dallas Stars will make Jake Ottinger available, but even he said, like, I wouldn't do this every day if it was like this every day. For whatever reason, you guys have got a great setup, and we're jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I remember like the veteran reporters that I know talk about how Martin Brodeur would talk on game day, and someone said, well, why would you do that? So many goalies don't. This is a Hall of Fame goalie, possibly the best goalie ever. And he's like, the game's in 8 hours. What else do I have to do? Yeah. And if you're that good, if you believe in yourself, a question or two is not going to affect your play. It's just it's a crutch. It's an excuse. It's sort of mushroomed or snowballed through the years. I don't like it, and you guys got a good setup here.
It is a good thing, and kudos to Oilers PR for continuing the tradition of having the goaltenders be allowed to speak on game days. I go back to the story that Derek Van Diest likes to tell when the Minnesota Wild were rolling through town and Jose Theodore was their backup. And somebody wanted to do, I think it was Spec or DVD, somebody wanted to do kind of a feature on Jose Theodore. And he's like, sorry, guys, I don't speak on game days. And I think it was Spec that yelled out, "You're the backup. You're not even playing." I was there for that. And I remember laughing. I had to hide my laugh because I'm like, this is Jose Theodore. He's a Hart Trophy winner. Like, but yeah, it's
once you give an inch or take a mile, right? Like the precedent's been set in so many markets, and thankfully for you guys, luckily for you guys, that's not the precedent.
It is nice to have that ability to speak to the goalie. Yes, Hernan.
Wasn't it Al Montoya here with the Oilers that wouldn't speak? Or there was a
Yes, there was. I've heard that story.
Oh, yeah. And I was there for it. And I was also right there for that one. I really like Al Montoya. I found him to be a very pleasant guy, easygoing. But, yeah, he didn't speak on game days, especially when he was playing. And that became a thing, and it got a bit silly. So
it's when guys are used to it in other markets. I mean, if it's explained to them, it shouldn't be a problem. Like, it doesn't have to be every day. And you can give guys days off. But, like, generally speaking, I think every player should be available every day.
The game is in 8 hours. What else do I have to do? That is a great quote. Yeah. And it's very, very true. All right, Josh Clipperton joining us, a national hockey writer for the Canadian Press here at the Canadian Ice House. Reed Wilkins is going to stop by in a bit. You're going to hear from the Oilers. You're going to hear from Matt Cassian as well. What kind of hockey game are you expecting tonight? And if you're the Oilers, what are you focusing on to get the win? And if you're the Panthers, what do you think the mindset is?
I think I'm expecting a closer game than maybe some of your callers or the texters. I think it's close. I'm concerned from a entertainment value about the lack of an off day on a travel day. Heavy legs. I'm not saying it's not going to be a good game, but I think there could be. It might not be as fast as we've seen. I mean, that may benefit the Oilers because they're just a faster team to begin with. They're the younger team. I mean, I know the Oilers have older players, but their speed is young. From Panthers' perspective, they're going to have to weather the first 10 minutes. It's such a cliche, but that's what they got to do. It's this is a team that's been through the battles. They've seen pretty much everything. They have that swagger, that championship swagger. In terms of the game itself, I'm seeing a 1 goal with an empty netter. I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm not that kind of guy. I'll just be wrong.
We usually end up being wrong when we make predictions. How about one last one for you, Josh? The environment here, the environment in Florida. You did the Stanley Cup final last year between these two teams. How would you sum that up?
Unbelievable here. Unbelievable. I know that Edmonton is a place that sometimes players say they don't want to come to, or fans across the league like, oh, why do you want to live there? I love this place. I didn't know much about Edmonton until I came out here in 2022, I guess, for the conference final, the Battle of Alberta, and then the conference final, and been back the last 2 years. Love the atmosphere, love the passion. This is a hockey town through and through. Florida, you know what? You got to give them credit. It's a great arena, but there's no vibe around the rink unless you go to the elbow room in Fort Lauderdale after the game. Pretty much, there's not a whole lot going on, but they bring it in the crowd too. It's been a great series. The fans on both sides have been awesome.
You know what? As the so-called mayor of Edmonton that you've declared me, that just got you a night of free beers.
There we go. Perfect. All right, buddy.
Josh Clipperton, national hockey writer for the Canadian Press. Thank you for hopping on today, buddy. I'll see you in the press box, and we'll be doing this again for sure.
Awesome. Great to be here.
All right, that is Josh Clipperton. We're going to go inside the Oilers locker room. Nanso, who are we going to hear from first?
How about Connor McDavid?
Sounds great. Here we go. The Oilers captain, Connor McDavid.
Confidence you guys have in him and how well he's played this fall.
Yeah, we got a lot of belief in both guys. Obviously, both guys can step up and give us a chance to win, and that's what we're looking for him to do tonight. He's done that all playoffs.
You guys have done a good job, battling your way back in. But have you kind of discussed, maybe not getting in your own way early in games, some of the things to maybe tighten up a little bit so you're not chasing?
Well, certainly. Obviously, we want to get off to better starts. Can't be chasing games like we have been kind of all series long, really. So I'd expect a good start tonight.
Well, the difference between when you guys maybe feel a little pinned into your own zone versus when you're finding that space, what do you think kind of the difference is?
We're able to work up the ice a little bit more. We're getting numbers up the ice. We're forechecking pucks back. I feel like when we're kind of getting hemmed in our zone and, kind of tilting the rink, it feels like we're, one or two guys up the ice and you're not going to sustain any offense that way. So, or just any zone time. So we got to forecheck pucks back. You need D to help with that. You need everyone up the ice.
There are some teams that have a backup goalie that plays very sparsely, doesn't play much, and when he comes in, it's a change, I guess. On this team, your guys have played so much and in big games. Does it really matter to the skaters who's in that?
Oh, it doesn't really matter, honestly. We know both guys give us a chance. We know both guys are more than capable. It's all about whoever's going. Obviously, Pick stepped in and played great. I don't think Stu was at fault at all for any of the goals the other night. I think it was just a victim of circumstance, and Picks came in and gave us a chance. I guess he goes today.
What do you think the feeling is? You're coming home tied. You can be right in control of the series. You got 2 at home. You kind of never had that feeling last year, I would say. What's the feeling in here and maybe in the city?
Yeah, obviously, it's a different feeling than it was last year. Being down 3, chasing the whole series. Chance to put ourselves in a good spot here tonight with a big effort. We're excited. I'm sure they're excited too. Everyone's excited. It's a big game.
Game 6 last year was such an awesome atmosphere, I guess. Is there any anticipation for that same thing? Get to do it again here?
It's been such a good atmosphere all playoffs long. We expect nothing less.
What are the lessons from Calvin's journey? A guy that's had to battle for everything in his career.
Someone who's just kind of stuck with it all along, and he's been a true pro and a great person all the way through. I think good people get rewarded, and he's a good person and works as hard as I've seen a guy work. So couldn't be more deserving of the role he's got and the opportunity he's got.
Looks like you're with Ryan and Connor again tonight. Just a thought on that line, how you feel you guys played, what you're going to look to do?
I think as a whole, it's been tight 5-on-5 for everybody. I think our team as a whole is, 5-on-5, I think we can find a way to do more. But it's a tight series. 2 really good teams. There's going to be, there's going to be chances that go both ways. Obviously, we're trying to.
Hey, Connor, you got to meet Yager the other night, it looked like, and just wanted to know what he meant to you as a younger player.
Gotten a chance to meet him a couple times now. Obviously a legend of the game. One of the greatest to ever do it. Cool to have him. Cool to see him, talk to him, spend some time with him.
All right, there's Connor McDavid speaking prior to game number 5 here in Edmonton. This series knotted up at 2 apiece. Tom Gazzola, Reed Wilkins with you at the Canadian Ice House. Wow, it is rowdy here. Reed's got his eye on the U.S. Open. Burns is still leading at -4. Spawn, -3. Scott, -2. Hovland, -1. Ortiz, even. Just a quick update there.
I got to admit,
Reed Wilkins.
I get sort of a deranged pleasure out of watching the struggles at the U.S. Open. I haven't seen a ton. but I think it was Hovland today, first tee shot, slices it and bounces into the rough across the cart path and into like a bunch of bushes.
Oh, shucks.
And I was like, yeah, welcome to my world, buddy. And then they're like, oh, he's going to hit a provisional. I'm like, no, you don't hit a provisional. You walk up to it, you hack it out, and then you resume your round. But you hit a provisional, and then this was funny. This was really funny, okay?
Okay.
So, like, the everyday golfer will be like, how would he do this? He gets to this thicket, like it's a very thick bush.
I like your use of thicket.
And he's like, calls, of course, they got to call over the rules official. Oh, my God, I got to get the rules official.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I measure 2 club lengths, but it's hard to get in there. Like, I can't get the ball out. I'm like, you can't, no, you kick, you pull everything out of the way, you step on branches, you take a club and whack aside bushes. Thank you very much. You got my food.
Excellent.
And you get your ball. That's what we do. No, actually, you go to your ball and you see if you might have a shot out.
Always.
Because it's lying in a clump of mud and on all this tall grass. So he was like, oh, I can't even get my ball. And then he's like, oh, I can't even reach in to measure with my driver to get out. And the rules guy was like, well, put it down here. So then here's the beauty of it. He had to drop it on the cart path, and it rolled into like this muddy part of the path.
Yep.
And I will say the shot he hit off the path was incredible. He got it onto the green, but it banked off a tree on the way there. I think he mishit it, and then he got a carom off a tree. I didn't see if he parred or bogeyed. I just watched that little snippet of it. But you see some of the rough that they're in, or them like missing shots and getting all like, oh, I can't. What's going on? And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? That's me 90 times around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay. See, I love that. I love it too, and I'm glad that I'm not the only one who gets some kind of sick pleasure from watching them struggle through 4 rounds at an incredibly tough golf course. Shane Lowry, Belzy sent this to me, missed like a 5-footer, and he said, this place.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Well, too bad. Too bad you're being tested.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of being tested, the Edmonton Oilers will be tested tonight in game number 5, looking to take a stranglehold of the series and go back to Florida with a chance to win the Stanley Cup. I love saying that. We got a text that came in from Aaron, says, oh, you can hear it. Oh, yeah. All day it's been like this. You know what, Reed? It started about like 10 o'clock in the morning. There you go. As I was making my way to the studios for Hello Hockey, there were already people milling about. There was already horns going off, the car flags, and people are pumped here in Ice District. Okay, Aaron texted in, said they must really be down on Klingberg to leave Stetcher in after benching him most of last game. I expect he'll play very low minutes and be protected as much as possible. Stetcher played 4:18. Klingberg played over 17 minutes in game number 3. Obviously, that was a bad game for everybody involved. But what do you make of Stetcher staying in for this one?
Well, first of all, I wonder if Klingberg's healthy.
Okay.
If this is the situation that you're not putting him back in for a guy who played 4 minutes, because even a limited Klingberg has still been playing double-digit minutes. But maybe also they went back and looked at some of the shifts and thought, okay, Stetcher had that 1 turnover, but the other shifts were okay, and maybe they are thinking things got out of rhythm with some of the special teams in the first period.
Right.
So they're giving him another chance. I mean, we go back to our age-old crutch now. Knoblock generally seems to know how a guy is feeling and how he's going to perform. Though I was surprised Stetcher was staying in. So I wonder if maybe Klingberg has something that could be ailing him a little bit. But, I mean, again, we know with Stetcher that the effort will be there.
Yes.
Will the execution always be there? That's going to be tough. It's tough for some of the good, like the better Oilers defensemen to handle the Panthers forecheck. So, that's going to be task number 1 for him tonight.
How about Arvidsson in for Kapanen? What do you make of that one?
I was a little surprised because Kapanen was involved in the Wallman goal. You know what, Tom? I thought Kapanen might come out after game 2.
So did I, actually.
He was on a couple shifts that turned into very disorganized efforts in the Oilers' end of the rink.
Yes.
So I thought that change might happen then, that Kapanen might come out. But again, this is probably them going back and rewatching the game and saying who's really contributing, who's really involved in chances. And I guess they have Arvidsson on the fourth line to start, so maybe they figured it was a limited ice time type of situation, and Arvidsson will be better. Kapanen's advantage, I mean, everybody's hitting in the playoffs.
Yes.
Kapanen's advantage is that he can be quite quick, and he can be creative with the puck. His disadvantage, and we haven't seen this as much in the playoffs, but I thought we certainly saw it in the regular season, is that he can turn the puck over, in the neutral zone or up high in the offensive zone. I don't remember any glaring errors like that in the last game, so that's why I was a little surprised. But again, Knoblock seems to have...
He pushes the right buttons,
seems to know the pulse of the team and who's ready to go.
All right, your wings are going to get cold. I want you to eat. You're a hungry boy.
I'm going to go right now?
Give us, no. Just give us your thoughts going into this game. What do you expect out there at Rogers Place tonight?
Where's the beep button?
Right here.
I expect the Oilers to finally not be complete horse in the first period.
Very good.
Like they have been the last two periods.
I like it, Reed.
I mean, I'll use a cliche, but I think it applies tonight. Better start the game well.
Yeah.
Don't be minus 1,000 goals after the first period.
That would be ideal.
And you should think it's great. Corey Perry gave them a pep talk, whatever he said. That should not be necessary at this time of year, especially coming off a 6-1 loss. So hopefully steadying the ship. And then what we've been talking about for the last week, stay out of the penalty box.
Yes,
if they can get rolling all four lines and get into a rhythm as they talk about it, finding their game and playing connected, they're hard to beat.
Yep.
And this is the beauty of this series. Both teams are excellent, but both teams can be put at a disadvantage by the other one once one team gets going. So be ready to go. Stay out of the penalty box and just be a nuisance to the Panthers. As we've seen, I mean, Peter DeBoer said it after they were eliminated, after the Stars were eliminated. He was asked about his Dallas team. Was this the best team you coached? And he's like, well, on paper, but we weren't. But I'll tell you this, that's Oilers team is better than last year because of how they check. Now, Florida's good, but I also don't think we've seen as much committed back checking and, defending of the precious scoring area by the Oilers like we saw against Dallas. Get back to that area, take away passes, take away shots, and then work out of your own end.
What did you order?
I just got salt and pepper wings again, and you get the veggies.
You better eat all your veggies.
Okay. I wanted a pop. I don't drink a lot of pop, but I got a pop
today. We can get you a pop. Reed Wilkins, fantastic stuff as always.
Okay.
Enjoy your meal, and I'll see you in the press box, okay?
See you, everybody.
All right, there you go. There's Reed Wilkins. Great stuff from him. As always, you can text us 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola live at the Canadian Ice House. There we go. I'll adjust the camera. Matt Cassian standing by. What do you want to do, Hernan? Do you want to go to another interview, or do you want to go right into Cass?
Let's go into Cass. He's ready to go. Give me the thumbs up there. Yeah, I think he's good.
Cass is good to go. Let's bring Cass in. He is our game analyst, Matt Cassian. And it is Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He's community-driven and understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Hello, Cass. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Ready for this home game, Tom. It's the pivotal swing game, as it were, to put yourself within a stone's throw of winning a Stanley Cup. So huge game. Should be lots of fun. As you mentioned earlier via text, it's chaos downtown, and that's okay.
I want to get your another chant starting. Like it's rowdy here. It's going to be like this all night. Has been all day, which is fantastic. Gives you a sense of where Oiler fans are at. I want to get you to answer the question of the night from Hernan. I want to put it out there to our listeners and viewers who maybe weren't tuned in at the start of the show when Josh Clipperton from the Canadian Press was on. Nanso, feel free to throw it out there one more time. Question of the night. Let's hear from Cass.
Yeah, Cass, I guess two-part. Are you surprised Stetcher stays in the lineup after playing 4 minutes, and that was a coach's decision? And do you like the move
I am a little surprised Stetcher stays in. It wasn't a very good night for him. Didn't play a lot of minutes, had a couple turnovers, and it just didn't look great. So I am a little surprised that Stetcher's staying in the lineup, but maybe they're saying, okay, hey, kind of keep it the same. I don't know. I don't know, but that's the decision. Now, Arvidsson coming in for Kapanen. Yeah, Kapanen has provided more of a spark in moments and in games than Arvidsson has. I mean, look at overtime goal. There's been some overtime opportunities, and he's kind of found his way around it. So that one kind of surprises me a little bit too, especially coming out of a win where you're going with a change here and switching it up. Now, I know you're rejigging the lines a little bit. We'll talk about that in a minute, but that would surprise me a little bit too. So I don't know, guys. I mean, I hoping that they win and that it's a non-issue and not something we even think about after the game. We're talking about how it was the absolute right decision, but I am a little surprised that both those guys came out. Now, maybe you're looking at this and going, Arvidsson has the capacity, the upside for Arvidsson, if he is having an absolute night, is probably higher than for Kapanen. But yeah, still a little bit surprising. Maybe you're just planning on not being in the penalty box at all, and you think Arvidsson's going to be better 5-on-5.
That would be lovely, Cass. That would be lovely indeed. All right, let's get into game changers here with our game analyst, Matt Cassian. Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. Tom Gazzola alongside Reed Wilkins here at the Canadian Ice House. It is a really, really good vibe. All right, Cass, number one, the shame box.
Yeah, stay out of the shame box.
Please
do. This is getting ridiculous. Even so much that Knoblock is talking about how it's making him angry. Like, he's mad. Like, I think that's the first time I've ever heard those words come out of his mouth in any interview, in any playoffs or any game, where he's like, yeah, I'm mad about that. I'm kind of getting mad about that. Like, that just tells you how bad it is. Like, those high sticking penalties, just horrible. And you look at Evander Kane, regulated right now to the fourth line to start the game because of it. Because he's taken 3 bad penalties in the last 2 games, and you just cannot do that. And even more so, you cannot do it when your penalty kill has just absolutely struggled. So staying out of the penalty box is a huge thing. I think, 5-on-5, certainly Florida is not a pushover, but Edmonton, when they can get rolling, they have a team that may be a little bit better than Florida, but where Florida has generated so much of their momentum this series, and any time they pulled away from the Edmonton Oilers, it primarily has been because they've been on the power play, and because Edmonton is not taking good penalties, not taking goal-saving penalties. They're taking like these chintzy little high-sticking calls or offensive zone penalties that are just not good in any way, form, or shape to take. So stay the heck out of the box, fellas, tonight. Keep your sticks down. No horizontal or parallel sticks to the ice, as we talk about all the time. Don't let your stick get horizontal or parallel to a guy's hands. That's recipe for disaster. And even more so, don't hit the freaking guys in the face with your stick. Like, it's just not good. Stay out of the box.
I just want to follow up here with the shame box, and it's point number one of game changers here. We have had people text in to the shows, post game, whatever, our daily shows here on our station, saying, well, the reffing sucks. Yes, but like, those penalties that they have taken, the ones that we're talking about, Cass, you're alluding to, they're straight up penalties. And then people respond, well, they missed one on Stetcher. Yep, they certainly did. They've missed a bunch of stuff. I don't think everybody's using that as a crutch, as the officiating, but it has popped up, and just the Oilers are taking stupid penalties.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah, bottom line is that. And yes, the officiating has been good. Yes, they missed the Stetcher one. Yes, they missed some other calls.
Yes.
But it's really hard for them. Like, the Stetcher one is also, like, you look at that play, it's like the referee's sliding out of the way, trying to look over his shoulder in motion. Mm-hmm. And it happens fast, and the puck's moving to out front of the net, so it's not where his attention is focused on. So it's like he should have seen it, but he didn't. The reality is, for most of the Oilers ones, that's like 4 feet in front of the official when he's staring right at it.
Yes.
Like, it's not away from the play. It's not where the play is moving back the other direction. It's like, no, it's like he has no choice but to make those calls. And yes, the officiating has been horrible. Yes, they missed 2 horrible misses in game 2. In overtime, both on the Bennett kicking the stick as well as the Ekblad and the too many men on the, like, they've been horrible.
Yeah.
But that's not the reason the series is 2-2. And they're going to call, like, you high stick a guy in the face right in front of them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to call it. So it's not an excuse. It shouldn't be an excuse, should not continue to be an excuse. I get that you're frustrated with it. I get frustrated with the officiating. Tommy does. We all do. But at the end of the day, they're officiating poorly for both teams. You got to find a way to work through it and not high stick guys in the face.
I know Brad Marchand is like 5'8" or whatever, but yeah, be aware, be smart with your stick. Hernan.
No, I agree. I think the officiating is I don't think any team could use it as an excuse or an advantage. They've been so bad in every series, guys. If you tuned into the other series, it's just so inconsistent, extremely frustrating for the Edmonton Oilers. But they got to stay out of the box, guys. They can't kill a penalty right now. It's a good point. I don't know if Tom or Cass said it, but Florida's, capitalizing on that. You stay out of the box, they're going to have to beat you 5-on-5. So I look for the Oilers to be much cleaner tonight and not take so many ill-advised penalties, especially early on. You don't want to get that team any groove or a lead in the game. So I expect a much cleaner game for the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm intrigued by Evander Kane being on the fourth if he kind of smartens up, just a little bit here, because he's been bad the last few games with the penalties he's taken.
All right, really quickly, Taylor from Indiana asked this. Hey, boys, do you think if Kane keeps getting these weak penalties, they'll sit him next game? I'll just add it into point number 1 there with the penalties in the shame box. Cass?
No, I don't think so, because the upside is still there. And who are you going to pull in? Like, are you going to pull Kapanen back in for him? So if he took another couple today, maybe, but I highly doubt it. Because as we've seen, he can be in the playoffs a game breaker in some ways where he's impactful or can be impactful. And taking penalties is impactful to the negative, but he can also impact the game to the positive, and I just can't see them taking him out of the lineup unless it was just so egregious that you had to. Again, that's where I think you regulate him. Even if he doesn't stay there for the whole game to the fourth line, like, you throw him there off the start, you're sending a message to him, and not just to him, but to everyone else to say that, hey, listen, you take some penalties, you take some bad penalties, your minutes may get cut back here, and you may be staring at this thing going like, I'm not getting to play as much because I'm taking dumb penalties.
Well, they sat him last game, so.
Yep.
All right, good question. Thank you. Good to hear from Taylor from Indiana. All right, let's move on to point number 2 here on Game Changers. Calvin Pickard. Yes, Cass.
Hey, after that game, for all the people that just crap on me constantly about Skinner, I said that Pickard should start, and he should start, and he is starting. He absolutely should be starting this hockey game. Played very well, although I still will pin that last goal, the late time goal in game 4, largely his fault. But as a whole, he was fantastic in overtime, played extremely well. So start him. Run with it. He's feeling it. The team is going to feel it with him in the net, and you're trying to carry on as much of that confidence and that mentality as you can. Now, it doesn't mean it would be broken with Stuart Skinner going back in. I'm sure it would be fine, but you're trying to keep that just, again, the same operating focus that you finish the game with. You're carrying as much as you can of that into game 5 here. So it totally makes sense to me that you're putting Pickard in. And with him coming in, hey, it's there's going to be moments in this game, much like there was moments when he was in the net in game 4, that Florida's going to get some opportunities. There's going to be some chances there, and getting that big save, getting that big moment is going to be a huge part of this. And, you want to win a Stanley Cup. I don't think Pickard has to steal you one here, but hey, if your goalie pitches a very, very strong game, you are putting yourself in a really good position to win.
Nanso.
Yeah, no, I mean, Pickard was the right choice. Steady Eddie, like Olive Kolzak called him yesterday. He said, interesting point by him. And I'm glad Connor McDavid got asked today. He was asked, hey, like, do you guys play any different? Do you prefer playing? And he's like, no, man. We have trust in both guys. Both guys have had their really good moments throughout these playoffs. So Pickard, hey, man, he's been really good. He makes the big save, high danger chance save. So I'm excited to see what he can do tonight.
Dare I even read this? But I'm going to. Chief Andy. Cass is finally coming around to jump on the Pickard train. Choo-choo. I don't know if you've ever not been on the Pickard train.
No,
Cass.
I've never not been on it. And I've always said that when he plays well, like I will speak well of him, just like with Stuart Skinner. And when they play poorly, I will speak poorly of them. And when I think one should play, I will say that player should play. Post game, last game, I said over and over again, Pickard should play. So he absolutely should play and should be in the lineup and deserves to be in this one. And that's not me saying that I think Stuart Skinner deserves not to be playing, because I don't think it was his fault. And I think the team let him down. And I actually thought he was very good in the first 15 minutes of that hockey game. But I digress. People are never satisfied. So it's all good. It's
everybody. The Skinner haters were pretty quiet for 2.5 weeks. It's always interesting that they come out when he has bad games. And it wasn't even a bad game. It was just overall bad team games. So it is what it is, boys. Let's go Picks.
All right. That is point number 2 of Game Changers. That is Calvin Pickard. It is Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Number 1 was the shame box. Talking about penalties. Stay the hell out of the penalty box. As we say goodbye to Reed Wilkins. He'll be back for the post-game show, pardon me. And then point number 2 was Calvin Pickard. Point number 3 here on Game Changers with Matt Cassian, Hero Mode. Cass, I feel like I know where you're going with this, but I want to hear it.
You want to hear it? I mean, McDavid is due. Connor McDavid is due. Want to see that hero mode engaged. Like, not that he's been bad. He's still been very good this series, but it really does feel, and I know people have said that, and is tonight the night for Connor? Is it a legacy game for Connor? And this and that. And he's not concerned with himself. He's concerned with winning. He wants to win a Stanley Cup and doesn't care who scores a goal, doesn't care who wears the hero cape that night. But to me, Tom, you're back at home here. It is time for Connor to have a night. It just is at the end. Like, and again, I know that he just wants to win and he's happy with anybody, but he is the best player in the world. And he hasn't had a game this series where he has just blown up, where he's been too difficult to contain, where he has just been unstoppable, and not from a lack of trying for him. And I think there is lots of it that has come from their inability at times defensively to transition the puck to him well. But to me, this is a night for Connor. This is a night for Connor. You're at home here in Edmonton in a pivotal game to put yourself one win away from winning a Stanley Cup that will be tied to your legacy. I am absolutely looking, Tom Gazzola, for a big, huge, massive, hero-like game from Connor McDavid tonight.
I'll be honest with you guys, Matt Castian and Hernan Salas, I'm also looking for him to put his stamp on one of these games, and I think this is a primo opportunity for him. Jasmine's here having a beverage and her crew. Okay, 6 points for McDavid through 4 games in this Stanley Cup final. 2 assists in game 1, 3 assists in game 2. Held off the score sheet in an abysmal game 3. Picks up a helper in game 4, but it hasn't really felt, guys, and Cass, you were alluding to it, like he has owned a game. Kudos to the Panthers, right? Kudos to the Panthers. But can he just take the game? Can he just take it? Or are they just stymieing him? Like, what are we seeing there from Florida?
I think there's some stymieing a little bit, and Florida's a really good team that's playing really well and plays really aggressive. And if we're looking at teams that match up well to limit him, I think they have the makeup of a team that can do that. Like they do. They have the makeup of the team that can do that. And part of that is because Connor is so good in transition, and the aggressiveness of the Florida Panthers has just pushed Edmonton's D back and limited their ability a little bit, again, to transition the puck well.
And so what do you got for Cass?
Yeah, I on the McDavid stuff, I agree. It's now, like, guys, like when he broke in, was it overtime or in the third on the breakaway? I mean, he usually finished those. So I think a little bit snake bitten as well. I don't think he's been bad, guys, at all. But I agree. I think he has to have a game, and I think he will. Like, they're so damn close, guys. And the legacy of McDavid, I don't think he thinks about it too much as long as the team wins, but I expect him and Leon to have enormous games tonight. I'll be honest, guys. I don't think it's going to be a close one tonight. I think the Oilers, with the crowd behind them, they can feel it. They're so damn close. Maybe they got away with one in game 4, guys coming back and winning in overtime after Bennett hit the post. I just think something special we're going to see tonight down at Rogers Place by the Edmonton Oilers and led by their 2 top dogs.
I think he does think about it, Nanso. The leg. To me, he won't admit it ever.
Yeah.
He will never, ever admit it. He'll be, it's about winning. But I think he thinks about it. And I think, and I understand 100%. We're fans and we're analysts and we're cast is saying, like, today is your opportunity to take the game, put yourself on the verge of a Stanley Cup championship. I think he thinks about it. Yeah. I think he's very aware of his legend, his aura, his him being a marquee player and how he'll be remembered. I think he does think about it, but he will never admit it. And I feel like, I mean, he had his moment at the Four Nations, but this is, and that was, listen, that was a phenomenal experience. And it was a really cool, neat event, a surprise, awesome event. But it doesn't matter like this one. This is what you played for growing up as a kid. This is all those old cliches. So I think he does think about it. I really do. And I do expect him to do something magical. That one assist he had, what was it, game 2, the crazy where he broke Ekblad's ankles. He's gotten Ekblad a couple of times in this series. He did the other night, didn't get the goal, obviously. But I really feel like he puts a lot of thought and concentration into these situations where it's like, hey, man, this is your chance. Go and show everybody why you're the best player in the world. That's just how. But I know what you mean when you say that, Hernan. But I'm just like, I think this is one of the few things he actually goes, I need to do this to be legendary.
Yep.
And he puts that pressure on himself.
Oh, for sure. Because remember the first time the Penguins won, guys, the clinching game, Crosby barely played in the third because he was hurt, right? But then he came back again. Where I just look at it like, I agree. Connor McDavid probably thinks about it, but I think if they go on to win this and he doesn't score a goal or whatever, like, I think it's something he'll think about afterwards, saying, like, hey, I gotta put a stamp in another run here. But I think he's going to be okay with it. You know what I mean? Because he's obviously still the biggest part of this team. So it's interesting, though. But I expect Connor to have a big night tonight. I truly do.
780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. The Oilers and Panthers, game number 5 from Rogers Place. It's going to get underway in just under an hour. Tom Gazzola live on location at the Canadian Ice House. Matt Cassian with you at his satellite studios. And Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. Game Changers had the Shane box is number 1. 2 was Calvin Pickard. 3 is Hero Mode. You heard us talking about Connor McDavid and legacy. How much does that go for Leon Draisaitl? Because I know there's been some discussion, let's call it, about him being the sidekick. I don't see him like that. I said it earlier in the day. It's like Batman and Batman, or like Michael Keaton Batman and Christian Bale Batman. Like, I don't see it as Batman and Robin. How do you guys look at that? And what do you make of him being called the sidekick?
It's more like Justice League, right? Like like
nerd alert.
Nerd alert, but that's a way better equivalent because it's like, no, he's not a sidekick. Like, he's maybe a little bit of a different superhero, but he's still a superhero. He's going to be concerned about his legacy too. And he knows that he is building one with the number of overtime goals he has in this playoffs already. Like, and those guys always think about that. I think about a playoff legacy. Like, when I'm playing, I'm like, I wanted to have a playoff legacy. Like, you as a professional athlete, you always care about that, right? Of course you're going to care about that. You want to be like, no one goes into that league or to become a professional athlete to not try to be a Hall of Fame player, right? Like, you want to be a Hall of Fame player. You want to be the best of all time. You want to be the best ever. And the reality is most people aren't. But those two guys can be pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And for them, it is a reality. And so it is something they think about. And for Leon, it's going to be the same thing. Now, he's not going to sit there and be like, oh, we need to worry about Connor's legacy, but he's still going to think about his. He's still going to think about winning that Stanley Cup. He's still going to think about people calling him the sidekick when he wants to go and he wants to be the guy. Not that they're not going to pass to each other, and try to make sure that they're the one to get the goal or they're the one to be the thing, but they're going to be the guy that wants to be the guy. That's just naturally how they are bred, how they're going to go out there. And so for Leon too, it's the same thing where it's, he does see, again, will never admit it, but does see that this is part of his legacy as a player. And even going to, him as a German, and a European guy, to say that he wants to be, undoubtedly, he wants to be the best player ever from Germany. And winning Stanley Cups is going to factor in it. So it's just, he's concerned with his legacy too. It's a big part of it. I don't think he's going to be nervous because of it. Those are the type of guys that they generally don't get nervous. They just get excited in those moments. But yeah, he's thinking about it too, fellas.
Like the McDavid Draisaitl era here, guys, since they've been together, I mean, Draisaitl's been the better performer in the playoffs. It's close, but even go back to 2017, boys, when they had their first goal.
So good.
Like he was phenomenal. Like that hat trick in Game 6 against Anaheim. This guy's breaking records, overtime goals, the amount of production. I'd almost say he's probably been a better playoff performer than McDavid. It's close, but Draisaitl is just unstoppable right now. He's going to be, right now, guys, like today, he's going to go down as one of the best player performers of all time.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just interesting and very good point. Leon and Connor are tied for the league lead in points in the playoffs. Leon has more goals. Technically, he's ahead of Connor, but yeah, I just find that discussion and the conversation interesting. It's yes, Connor McDavid is Connor McDavid. We acknowledge he's the greatest, most dynamic player. Leon's right there in a different way. It's not as flashy, but it's as effective in a different fashion. 32 points for both guys. Draisaitl 11 and 21, 11 goals, 21 assists. McDavid 6 goals, 26 assists. I saw Old School Nasty said it's more like Captain America and Iron Man. Okay, I did see a couple other texts that I want to get to, and I want to hear what Cass has to say about this. Riding the Pine via the Nasty Chat said, Bobrovsky's too good down low. You have to go high all the time. I saw people talking about Darnell Nurse's shot, asking if that's going to be the template going forward here. What do you think, Cass, against Bobrovsky?
Yeah, you're shooting where there's no goalie. Generally, that means you're not shooting along the ice. That's. I still remember back in Minnesota. Bob Mason would give his goaltending report before every game, and he turned it into a little bit of a joke because they would track where goals were scored, what part of the net, and they'd have that before every game. The starter and the backup, they'd have that up on the wall as part of your pregame report every single game, tracking where the goals were scored. And funny enough, on every single goalie, they had way more goals that were scored up high than down low. Weird how that happens. So Bobrovsky's no difference. Weak on backdoor tap-ins and get your secondary shots up high. I think that's what Bob Mason would say every single day. And the same is true for Sergei Bobrovsky, where it's just where is the exposure? It's 6 inches above the ice, so over the pad, right? Just over the pad or up high. Now, Bobrovsky does seem to keep his glove a little bit lower and drop it down a little bit. So maybe there is a little bit more room up top than on other goaltenders. But the reality is you're shooting where you see space, and that is oftentimes affected by shin pads, by sticks, by defending players, by offensive players, and where the lane to the net is. Now, if you have a breakaway and if you have an absolutely clean look at the net, then yes, absolutely look upstairs if you have the time to do so. Secondary chances, yes, you got to get it in the air because as we saw on a Corey Perry play, when he's spinning around, Bobrovsky does get across well, gets his pads down low, and is pretty aggressive, both challenging out to the net and across the net. Get the puck up high. That's the template, especially on secondary chances. And if you get a chance, backdoor tap-ins are nice too.
Yes, they certainly are. Okay, a couple of texts as we've got Matt Cassian with us, our game analyst. This text says, it's from Mike outside of Edmonton. Loser mentality, blaming the refs. Play smarter, be smarter than Marchand. Good point. That's from Mike outside of Edmonton. Then Spruce Grove Corey asks, boys, is this a Stetcher redemption game. What would you say to that? I think that'd be a bit of a stretch, but he's not going to play 418 tonight, Cass?
Yeah, he might play 8. Well, he'll probably play more. They have matchups, right? You have your matchups at home. You have a little bit more control with last change, so I think they have that. The other reality is that they were chasing the whole game, which means you need Bouchard to play more minutes, and you're going to be playing your guys that can potentially give you a little bit more offense than Stetcher,
right?
In a chase now and then. In a chase in a tight game, it's kind of the same thing. You're still looking for that next goal, and so it kind of shuts down his ability to play a lot of minutes. So I anticipate him playing a little bit more today, but who knows? Maybe the redemption tour. Should we pick him as our most likely GWG tonight, Troy Stetcher?
No.
All right. Fair enough.
Definitely not. I'll fire one more at you. Hernan, if you have another one forecast, get it ready to go too. How much can you utilize the energy and crowd in this game tonight, Cass, realistically?
A lot. Like you can. You can feed off of it. It can be crushing to the opposition, deafening when you can't hear yourself think. And it can bring you up from an adrenaline standpoint. It just can. You can feed off of that energy and that vibe. It's a momentum thing, and the other team can feel it too. Florida can absolutely feed it too. So it's important that you don't get caught up in the moment, but if the crowd is loud and if the team is playing well, it can give you that little extra boost, fellas. It really can. And people I know maybe don't understand that or don't think that it actually does something. It does something, let me tell you. So be loud, be cheering, be a part of it, and let the boys feed off of that energy.
Nancito.
It's going to be unreal at Rogers Place. I can't even imagine, guys. I think both teams get a little jacked, though, right? Like Florida's probably like, let's shut these guys up. Let's quiet them down early. So, and like Cass said, the Oilers got to feed off it for sure, but don't get so riled up that you're taking stupid penalties and making a mistake out there. So, those first 10 minutes are going to be crucial, and I'm excited to see that crowd, man. It's going to be unreal, Tommy. You lucky bugger, you get to be there.
I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Cass. Fantastic work as always, my friend. I look forward to talking to you on the post-game show.
Sounds good, fellas.
There you go. There's Matt Cassian, our game analyst with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. You can text us, 780-218-9999. Share your thoughts with us. We'll read out the good ones. Nasty chat going strong. Good numbers today on the viewership side. Probably just as good, if not better, on the listenership side. It usually is. 780-218-9999. And, of course, on YouTube, get into the chat. We will go over the lineups again. We will also go back inside the Oilers locker room, and we'll get to the game day odds check as well. Actually, we'll do that right now. The game day odds check brought to you by our good friends and presenting sponsor, Play Alberta. Make your bets count for you and everyone else with the Play Alberta app, with hundreds of player prop bets on the biggest leagues, NFL, CFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, you name it. You're not just playing for fun, you're supporting your province. Play Alberta revenue helps fund Alberta programs and services. Deposit today with promo code YEG50, YEG, all caps, 50, and get an EST exclusive $50 free bet to get started. Your money line was even up on Play Alberta at -11 for both Edmonton and Florida, -111, I should say. The puck line, -303 for Edmonton, +190 for the Panthers. Over-under set at 6.5. The over at -120. The under at -118. It's getting tight, Hernan. It's getting tight.
Oh, yeah. Hey, some good mojo right now for the Oilers. The sun is out for that crowd.
It is.
It's going to be at the watch parties. Also, did you know that Fernando Pisani scored the OT winner against Carolina in a crucial Game 5 on this day back in 2006?
Hey,
come on, man.
I'm just going to say it I remember that vividly. I had run downstairs at my buddy Jared's place for a beer. And when I came up, he had intercepted the pass, went in and sniped one. I just caught it, but I do remember that. So that was June 14th, 2006. I just saw Dwayne Rollison, 2006 Stanley Cup jersey walk by.
Nice.
This is also the 2-year anniversary of our old station getting shut down, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah. So maybe 2 years later on this day, some positive vibes. The universe taketh and the universe giveth. So maybe it goes in the right direction tonight for our fine city. We lost a great entity in 1260, and from the ashes, a phoenix rises, and that is Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. So I thought about that today, Nat, so I was like, oh boy, maybe it's time to turn it around.
And it's our last weekend pre and post game show of the season.
Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
How many games have we done? 100?
Over 100 for sure. I think we hit 100 in game 2.
So this is game 5. So this is 103. I think we did 1 or 2 preseason games, about 105 games. It's been a long year, man. We started back in September. It's already mid-June.
Yeah.
We'll probably be starting again in September.
Oh, boy.
Fun. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. All right. Do we have any more audio we can get to? You want to get to Chris Knoblock a little bit?
Sure.
All right. We're going to go inside the media room at Rogers Place. Let's hear a little bit from head coach Chris Knoblock.
I mean, his journey has not been a straight line to get here. Can you just reflect on, or what are the lessons for maybe a young player, a guy who's not where he wants to be when you see Calvin Pickard starting Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final?
Everyone's path is a little bit different, and as much as we'd like to get to the NHL and be a star right away, there's a lot of work, a lot of things have to go your way, and so often, I tell my players often, a lot of the times things, don't go your way. They're not in your favor, but sometimes it works out in your favor. Sometimes you're not playing well, and just because of circumstances, you get opportunities that maybe you didn't deserve. A lot of times, and players like to reflect on those times, is when you do deserve opportunities to play up and get more responsibilities, then they're not there. But over a course of a player's career, whether it's through minor hockey, junior hockey, pro, it usually works out that as long as you stick with it and if you do deserve it, things will work out. And maybe early in his career, I believe he had 50 starts in his first or second year in the league. Was he good enough to get those 50 starts? I don't know. I'm not in that position. And then, for him to go about 10 years without being in the NHL, was that fair? No, probably not. He probably deserved more starts and being in the NHL. And, fortunately for him, he stuck with it. He believed in himself. And it's paying off for him now. And it's paying off for us also.
Left side, fourth row.
Hey, Chris, I just had one more on the goaltending. You've talked about Stewart facing a barrage in the beginning of Game 4. You've talked about his numbers from Game 4 on the end of the series, how good they are. Was there, how much of a debate was there about going to Calvin versus Stu, or was it an easy call based on how Calvin played in Game 4?
No, it wasn't an easy call because we've got 2 good goaltenders. Stu has come in and played some really big games, especially later in the series. But I think the deciding factor for us was, we won the previous game, and Picks made a lot of big saves. So that was probably the deciding factor of, one, we did win, but how well he played for him to get the net again.
Right side, front row.
Let's switch to the forwards. Looks like Kapanen is out. You continue a bit of a rotation with guys getting everybody in. I guess I would ask you to confirm that if you could, and just your thoughts behind having these guys that seemingly can come in and out every second game.
Yeah, Victor, was pulled out and not in the lineup, but was that fair? And we talked about things are fair and not fair, but here's the privilege I have is having a lot of good hockey players and being able to put them in the lineup. And here we got a fresh guy who didn't play the previous game. Our team has traveled, and we feel that Victor's in a position to help us. And throughout the playoffs, he's played really well. And just because of circumstances, whether we needed more physicality or maybe more of a penalty kill guy or whatever it is. He was pulled out of the lineup, but Victor's an excellent hockey player, and we feel that he'll give us a good game tonight.
Take a few more.
Okay, that was Chris Knoblock. He went on for another 5 minutes, so we're not going to do that to you. But some information there on the move to get Kapanen out, Arvidsson back in. That brings us to starting lineups. We'll do that one more time. Those starting lineups brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Southport Chev. Go see Daniel and his team in the fourth. They'll give you $1,000 extra credit on your trade-in. www.southportchev.com. For the Oilers, McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Brown. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Perry. Henrique between Jeff Skinner and Trent Frederick. Matthias Janmark with Evander Kane and the aforementioned Victor Arvidsson. On defense, you got Kulak with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Ekholm with Wallman. We'll see how long those pairings stay intact because Troy Stetcher stays in, Klingberg stays out, and we'll see if Stetcher plays more than 4:18 like he did the other night in Florida in game number 4. As for the Panthers tonight, you've got Barkov between Verhaeghe and Reinhart, Bennett centering Rodriguez and Kachuk, Anton Lundell with Eetu Luostarinen and Brad Marchand, Tomas Nosek with AJ Greer and Jonah Gadjevich. On defense, Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikkola with Seth Jones, and Nate Schmidt with Dmitry Kulikov. Your starters for tonight between the pipes for the Oilers, Calvin Pickard, and then Sergei Bobrovsky for the Panthers. Nancito, what you got?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I know I've seen a lot online that some people don't like the lines tonight. Listen, with Chris Knoblock, it's going to be a mishmash. They barely ever stay together. I don't anticipate Podkolzin with Draisaitl all night. I don't anticipate Kane on the fourth line all night. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's crazy because almost in every series you can get a feeling for the game. I have a feeling that the Oilers are going to roll tonight, Tom, and it's just a feeling I've had for the last since yesterday. I think the Oilers. I think we're going to see something similar to Game 3, but in the Oilers' favor. I might be out to lunch. People might not agree with me, but I think they smell blood
in the water.
Blood in the water. They're not going to let this moment slip away. I think they're going to come out just guns blazing. The top dogs are going to be the top dogs. I think they're going to play a disciplined game. I think Pickard's going to be a steady Eddie. So I have a good feeling about tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. I feel it in my gut that this one's not going to be close, Tom.
I hope you're right, honestly. I would love to see that, but these games outside of Game 3, obviously, where things just got completely sidetracked and derailed immediately, 56 seconds in, and the Oilers were a mess. It has been a tight series. I know the last game, first period was not good for the Oilers, but they chipped away, they stayed at it, and actually had the lead in the last 6 minutes, blew it with 19 seconds left, and then, there's Tube Socks. Hello, Tube Socks. And then managed to score in, hey, get over here. Come say hi, Tube Socks. Say hi really quickly. There he is. Get in here. This is the man behind all the graphics, Tube Socks. Say hello to everybody. There you go. There's Tube Socks. All right, you boys have fun. You snuck in. I like it. You're a sneaky guy. Okay, Savage is here, I think, and VR Montenegro. Okay, good. There you go. Tube Socks. He's nasty.
He's nasty.
Oh, he's going to sit there. That's fine, too. All right. Final thoughts from you, Hernan? We got a couple minutes left to go here.
Yeah, no, I have a good feeling about tonight. There's a lot of good juju in the air right now for the Edmonton Oilers team. You know, the last game didn't start well, but they finished strong, found the winner in OT, a bit of a bounce. I just keep thinking, man, we've had a lot of guests on all the shows here on EST, a lot of former players, and they all keep using the same word regarding the Edmonton Oilers.
What's that?
Destiny.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so I think today's just another step to get them closer to their ultimate goal, Tommy, and I think it's going to be a wonderful night. I hope everybody enjoys the game. Have fun. Don't be an idiot out there. No fighting at the Joey Moss pit, okay? Celebrate. Be happy. Tommy, last weekend show for us. I'm going to embrace
Are you sad?
it. I'm going to enjoy it. And I can't wait for post-game show because I think it's going to be a very happy post-game show.
if that happens, it's gonna be very sloppy.
You might
here,
need some
downtown.
security, Tom.
Oh, they've got great security here. Sam is about 7 feet tall. He's my boy. You got Aladdin here. You got Tim. They take care of it. But it got pretty sloppy. I'm not going to deep dive into it, but the last time we were here, that was for game 2. My brother was also here, and I don't know what happened to him between the start of the pregame show and the end of the hockey game, but he was cross-eyed, and he wasn't even the worst one. There was so many people. There was a girl pushing the table, Hernan, with all the gear. I'm like, hey, and she was a friend of a friend. I'm like, stop pushing the table. And she turned and looked at me with rage in her drunken eyes and pushed it hard. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So it has a lot of potential for that. Mixing of water is what I would say to everybody. Enjoy the game. I hope Hernan's right for the sake of oil country, that the Oilers give everyone a lot of reason to cheer and be happy tonight. But just remember, be safe, be smart, have a water.
Don't get in trouble.
Don't get too rowdy. Yeah.
Don't get in trouble. Wake up tomorrow feeling good.
That would be lovely. Spruce Grove Corey texts in, says, what? He's not a sock at all. I know, right? Tube Socks likes it. He's laughing. He thinks that's funny. I appreciate that. That's good. That is really, really good. All right, so Pickard versus Bobrovsky in net. You've got Arvidsson in for Kapanen, and then Troy Stetcher stays in. No lineup changes for the Florida Panthers. Nancito, you're expecting this to be a good game for the Oilers. You're expecting this to be a happy night for oil country. Could you imagine this team going back to Florida for Game 6 on the cusp of winning the Stanley Cup? Oh, there's Cal. Cal in the park. Hi, Cal.
Unreal, man. It's unreal, man. It's a fan base that deserves this. You know, I don't want to put the cart before the horse just yet, but I have a good feeling about tonight. And then if you can go into Tuesday in Florida, Tommy, holy smokes, man. I think oil country's ready to explode right now and ready to get going and ready to celebrate. So let's go. Big Game 5. Winner of Game 5 usually goes on to win. So this one's enormous. And Rogers Place is going to be rocking, Tommy. Get there safe. Get back to the ice house safe. And let's go, baby. It's going to be a fun night. Saturday night. Oilers, Panthers, Game 5. Oh, baby.
I think we're going to see a tight game. I hope we see the team that resides in the city give its fan base something to rejoice about and make it a hell of a weekend here in oil country. Like Hernan said, our final weekend of the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. That's going to wind things down. I'm going to spend the last 2 minutes giving a big shout-out and thank you to Tube Socks. We've got a bunch of nasties that are here. Savage is here. I saw Sarah is here. Cal in the Park. VR Montenegro. I think Grumpy Cat is here. My buddy Kunal is here from Calgary. He's excited too. It's going to be an awesome time. Jasmine was here with her crew. Absolutely tremendous. A big thank you to Tian from the Canadian Ice House. Maybe we do get a Game 7 here. We shall see. That story needs to be written. Absolutely tremendous. Carly, fantastic. Taylor, Caitlin, Brianna, the entire staff here, so good to us. So a big thank you. Maybe it's our last one here, but that's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. A big thank you to Josh Clipperton, national hockey writer for the Canadian Press. For Matt Cassian, for Hernan Salas, Reed Wilkins, I am Tom Gazzola saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Enjoy Game 5. Oilers, Panthers, Stanley Cup final. Could they be on the verge of a Stanley Cup after tonight? We shall see. Ciao for now, everybody.